Today, we are going to be covering all about JavaScript, what exactly is JavaScript, how to get started with it, and some of the most core fundamental foundational ideas about JavaScript. So the couple of sessions that we have had thus far, we have covered about version control systems, about GitHub, and we also did some hands-on practice on that. And we have also covered some of the most basic fundamentals about what exactly is web development, things such as developer tools that you can use in case you want to become a web developer. And also we have covered last time the introduction to HTML and CSS, and we looked at various different examples, and we also did some live hands-on programming with HTML and CSS. We can move to the next one. All right, so for today we are going to be very specifically talking about an introduction to JavaScript. What are some of the like data types, keywords that you will find in JavaScript, how to basically include JavaScript as basically in your HTML files, or if you're creating a web project. Then we'll be looking at DOM manipulation, which is really really important. Then we'll be looking at some of the more in-depth concepts such as array objects, event listeners, that they are sort of correlated, and also some of the ES6 concepts as well related to web development. So with that, over to you, Raghav.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shivai, for the introduction as well as explaining all the content that we will be covering in this session. So basically moving towards, so today's session will be majorly focused on JavaScript, as well as we will be doing some hands-on session upon how JavaScript work in real time, and we will be creating some projects as well as we will be testing some of the function along with the developer tools. So that would be having on a live environment. So we will be proceeding with that in a little while. So before proceeding, so basically I will be telling you about what is JavaScript, and along with some fun facts about JavaScript. So basically, coming towards the JavaScript, so it is the basic functionality of for web development. Like for it is basically used in the front end, as well as we can use as a back end. And again, for the front end, we have a bunch of stuff. So basically, it defines how HTML document behaves. So if uh, we just want to click on a button, if we have some listeners over there, or if we move the mouse pointer, so basically everything that is functional, and again we can, a user can act upon it. So that is basically is being defined and done by JavaScript itself. So till now, like JavaScript is the most popular language, and again the most used language. And according to the Stack Overflow stats of the last year, and again almost every web developer is should have an essential skill of how JavaScript they would be using, like. And again, the best part is it's a very lightweight language that we will be using upon. And again, that is that work in just in time compiled. That means like the code that we will be writing, so that would be executed within a browser. So basically at the time of execution. So it will not be compiled or run before or uh, in between. It will just compile, and it will be executed when we want and when the browser wants. And again, as I've told, like it's the most popular language, and again it's used in front end as well as back end. And basically JavaScript, as the name suggests, so it's basically a scripting language. So that means the compiler read the JavaScript code line by line. So the instance that we have written above, so that would be read first and compile that, and then the line that or the code that we have written down, so it will be compiled further. So again, the important note is like in early 90s, so basically JavaScript does not have a particular name. So basically the initial name was Mocha. So that's a complete opposite of what JavaScript is now. And again, The names are changed uh, like a couple of times. So that's again written as LiveScript, and the initial name was given JavaScript when it is like broadly published in the web browsers. And again, and at the end of 90s decades, so basically it has been the JavaScript uh, environment has been handed over to ECMA, ECMA Foundation. So basically MDN Foundation, the Mozilla Foundation. So basically they suggest all the changes, and they took over JavaScript and named it as ECMAScript. So basically the real name of JavaScript is ECMAScript according to the today's world. So again, the common term is JavaScript and the short term is JS. So that we would be writing upon. So these are small fun facts. And again, so how we will be using that JavaScript within the HTML file. So that's the main concern. Like we can write the JavaScript code, but how we can execute that within an HTML file or any other environment. So basically, we have three different ways to like carry upon with the JavaScript code. So the initial one is like using a script tag. So I would be having a live demonstration how we will be using these three approaches, and I would be demonstrating that include. But for the reference purposes, so basically we have three ways. So initial we would be using the script tag, and the second one we would be using again using an external file JS contributing all the code to an external JS file and then importing it as we do with the CSS one. So basically, this again the CSS have the three parts how we can use CSS within our HTML document. Again, we can use either inline CSS style tag, or we can write an external CSS and then afterward link it to the main HTML document. So again, that whole structure has been explained in the module 2 that we have already done. And for this, so again we would be the second point would be making an external file, and the third point would be like using inline JavaScript. So basically, it's not like the previous instances. Like we can define some. There are some restriction when we are adding an inline JavaScript. So basically, we have some event listener like on click, yeah, on hover or something. So basically, we define that CSS within that particular inline element, and then we will execute that code. Again, we will be having an hands-on session of all these stuff. So in a while. So moving toward the next. So basically, so today's session will be more focused on the hands-on part. So we does not have a much theory part. And again, the JavaScript is a huge environment in which we can dive upon and we can learn too many stuff. But it again, the theory is too vast to explain in a single video. But again, we will try to cover as much as we can. So coming towards the DOM, so how the JavaScript work in the front-end environment is by like combining all the HTML document and all the CSS part in a single module called as DOM. So basically, a browser consists of the renderer area, the white space in which the content is available. So that is nothing but DOM. That is again described by all the JavaScript. So basically, when we write a document, so we can control each and every part of it, and the tree structure that we have explained in the previous module, the module 2. So again, that is again worked in this uh, DOM structure, and we can define any of the value, as well as we can define some functions and apply to it, and we can also manipulate some text button, or we can add some elements to it. We can create it, we can delete it, and again we can transfer the data from one place to another. We can handle the pages, and we can basically link to other pages. There are a lot of application as well as stuff that we can do with the help of JavaScript. So basically, that is all done by a single object model, that is DOM. So again, I would be explaining that, and we will be having an hands-on session upon the DOM, and we would be revolving around that. So again, going over the hands-on session that we would be performing. And again, the topics that we would be covering in this is like the data types, how there are different data types, and we will be creating some functions and then integrating how we can integrate JavaScript into the HTML file. And again, in uh, ex, uh, like exploring that part instance and having a DOM manipulation, how we can create and change, update different DOM or HTML tags that we used to create. And again, we will be having some uh, event listener applied to it. And at last, we will be having some concepts about ES6. So basically, the thing that I explained you about, so the ECMA script. So basically, that's nothing but that the short form is ES6. Oh, ES. And again, we have a different bunch of version along with it, uh, denoting by 1 2 3 4 5. So that the ES6 in 2015 basically. So there was a major change in the JavaScript, basically the module. So that's particularly defined as ES6, ECMAScript version 6 in 2015. So we have a bunch of concept along with some iteration over it. So we will be explaining all that in this hands-on session. So basically we have covered two modules till now. The first one is the simple Git intro, Git and GitHub session along with some developer tools and along with some deployment of along with Git. And in second module, we have the introduction to HTML as well as CSS and referred how we can link those documents, how we can work and we can style the documents. And again, in this module, so basically that would be totally focused on JavaScript and how we can manipulate the HTML file as well as the whole document along with the JavaScript. So starting with the session, so I would be creating a simple HTML file. So named as index.html. Again, so you can neglect this one. So uh, we have a simple extension over here that already been explained in two previous modules. So basically, this is a Visual Studio Code extension named as HTML code snippets. So that basically helped me a lot in writing some code as well as boilerplates. So by just hitting the exclamation mark and by entering it, so I will be getting a boilerplate code. And so that's basically done by the HTML snippets. So I would be creating a simple div element with a name with a text hello in it. So uh, I would be running that in, so that's module 3. So I would be running it in the browser. So hello is written over it. So basically, before starting, so we would be having some introduction about how we can use JavaScript, some basic terminologies and functions, how we can create arrays and different bunch of other data types. So basically, you can either go towards like just click on these three dots, then more tools, then developer tools, or you can press Control Shift and I to open developer tools. So this is the main tool that we will be using while learning about JavaScript. So basically, every browser have their own JavaScript compilers. So in this, we in the Chrome browser, so we have V8 engine that compile all JavaScript code into one. And again, so uh, we can execute every each JavaScript code that we will be writing within the HTML document. So that would be executing within this console, and the response would be provided within this white space or the content area, the main content area of the browser. So the basic uh, thing that we can do on this console is like if I want to like the first thing that we do in every language is like print hello world. So basically in this console, so we will be printing a simple hello world. So that's done by so by writing console. So console represent this particular instance that we have opened, and we want to print something. So print is nothing but logging something on a screen. So here the terms come as log. So we are explaining the console dot to log something. So what we will be writing, hello world. So here the hello world message come up. So basically you just have to be stuck on this message tab. So if you are on any other tab like no error or warning tab, so the message would won't be appear. So that again happened in my module one. So I was in my no error tab and no message was coming up. So basically we have to be in the message uh, tab within the console, so all our message would be appeared. So again when we have console the hello world, so this undefined has appeared out of nowhere. Like I am not defined undefined to be consoled on to print on the console, but again what it define is basically each and every function that the javascript calls, so that have to return something. So the console.log that we have written over here, so that is not returning something. If what I mean by return is, so if the function is called and after the execution, so it should give a value or something like a simple number, string, or array, at least something, so that we can use that value and we can assign it to some particular variable. But this console.log is not returning something or not giving a particular any value. So that's why we are having undefined. And again I would be explaining this the uh, in a while. So basically this is a simple printing of uh, statement over the console. So the next part is like defining some variables. So the variables are defined by var keyword. Again, the var means simple variable, as the name suggests. So I would be having a simple variable name x, and so basically what it means is, so we are defining a variable. So here the variable is defined like var x. X is being defined and it has been given some memory within the memory space. So it is being declared, x is being declared, and now when we put equal to, we will be giving some value, like I would be giving one value to it. So now we have declared the value x and initialized x as the value of 1. So basically x has been given a value 1 to it. So when I click on hit enter, so again it is returning undefined. So basically we have again performed a function and assigning declaring a variable and assigning a value 1 to it, and again it is returning nothing. So that's why basically it is giving undefined, and we can see undefined over the console. So I can now I have declared a variable, and now I can use x at anywhere, any instance or a point. Like if I want to print 1, so basically I would be writing console dot log, and I would be so basically log is a function of console, and again I would be writing, rather than typing it explicitly 1, so I would be giving a variable over here. So just by declaring x over here, so 1 would be appeared. So that means x, the value 1 is being stored in x, and we have used x in a function. So that have returned us 1. And again, so if you have seen some pop-up that appeared on the module, so basically that's the alert function. So again, if we want to alert something, or if we want to have a pop-up appear over the screen, over the browser, that denotes some error or some command that has to be done. So basically we can done with the alert part. So hello world again. So by clicking on enter, so this page say hello world. So this is nothing but a simple alert that we can show within the browser. So this alert function is available. These functions are available in each and every browser, and you can use. But the design can be changed and varied from browser to browser. But again, if we hit alert, so a pop-up would be appeared saying the term that we have written within that function. And again, so we have basically declared a variable, and also again, so we have declared a variable as x. So basically, if I want to know what is the type of x, so basically I can write type of. If the screen is not visible, I believe like it's a bit smaller, so I can increase the text size. Yeah, I believe now it must be okay. So till now, we have done the console log and again defined a variable along with initialization of the variable, giving the value x to 1. And again, we have console that particular variable. So we have used variable in a function. And again, we have used a lot function to display a pop-up. Now I want to get a type of a variable x. So by writing type of uh, followed by a space, then the variable name that I'm using. So it basically returned a number. So the type of x, variable x is a number. As we have declared, we have initialized the value of x as 1. So 1 is a number. So it has returned be 1. So so basically JavaScript is a flexible language. So we can typecast the value of x variable name from number to string, as if you have studied about like if you have worked in Java or C++. So basically that restrict us to change the data type. So basically we have to again define a particular variable with another uh, data type, and again we have to explicitly define and typecast that variable and then convert it to another data type. But in JavaScript, again, this var means variable. It can store any value. Either it can be a number, string, array, object, function, boolean value, null, undefined. So basically we have a bunch of value over here. So that is particularly based in JavaScript, and again we can easily typecast from uh, one variable or data type to another. So basically, if I want to give a string to it, so we can easily write x is equal to followed by a parenthesis or a single parenthesis. So hello. So again, if I console dot log x, so it prints hello. And again, uh, so basically there is another data type. So I would be clearing the screen. And yeah, so basically you can clear the console by just writing uh, clear command, or just by hitting on this cross icon. So basically it clears the console. So the next part is different type of data types that we will be using. So basically initially as I have defined, so it's a number, and we can again define, so we can see the type of side by side. So basically, one is a number. If we define x is equal to hello, then type of x is a string. The next data type would be array. So now, uh, so prior to this, so I would be defining an object. So object look like this. So object in the JavaScript is have a curly braces, and then we have some key value pairs. in it. So basically like name ABC, then so we can also include some functions, and we can include any type of data within an object. So basically it combine a key along with the value. So I would be writing how we can invoke all the keys and value and where it will be used. So basically I have given a class of first, and again I would be defining that again the type of X would be an object. So this is a basically terminology of object, how it would be visible, and it contains a key along with the value pair, key value pair, simple key value pairs. And then now coming back towards the array or list. In Python it's known as list, but in JavaScript it is known as array. And different languages, so we have different terms to denote a particular array. So basically, so we have declared variable X along with an array. So if I write type of X, so that would again be an object. So if probably you will be thinking like the value of X may not be changed from this object to the next object, like array, it should return array. But basically in JavaScript, array is nothing but a special type of objects. So if I expand this arrow key down, so basically, as you can see above, we have a key value pair. So in JavaScript, again, the list have a key value pair. The key means the index. So basically, array start index start from zero. So we have 0, 1, 2, and again, so array is nothing but special type of objects. Like the keys are denoted by a number uh, that represent their index. So basically, zero represent the first item. So the first item is one. The first represent two, and again the second item is third, represented by the like the index number. And again, the type of the array would be again object. So there one will not be changed. So again, the next data type come Boolean values. Boolean means just simple true, either true or false. So basically, I would be writing X is equal to like true. So returning type of Boolean. So it would be a Boolean. And again, I can define X as a function. So how we can I can define as a function. So just writing by function. So this function would be giving me a simple console.log whenever I call this function with the term hello world. Okay, so I would be typing type of X. So again, that would be declared as a function. So basically, we have a bunch of data type over here, and again, we have another two special data type that I would be representing to you. And again, till now, I have declared a function with the name of X. So basically, I have assigned a variable name X to a function. So I can invoke this function by just by typing a parenthesis beyond it. So I would be calling this function. So it would be returning me hello world. And again, uh, so the two special type of data types that we have in JavaScript are undefined as well as null. So by giving x is equal to null and again checking the type. So null is again an object. So it is if you can define null as like null mean nothing, but again x has a value. So basically null is a special type of value in JavaScript. So basically we can assign this value to any of the variable, and if we declare this undefined and again we check the type of x, and again so that would again be undefined. So basically this is the another data type. So undefined means x is declared but the data type is not set. So uh, as compared to these data type that we have written till now. So basically, uh, the first one is a simple number, then string, then we have object, then again we have array as an object, that is special type of database data type, a special type of object. And again we have boolean value, we have functions, we have null as an object. Null is a value, and again undefined means we have declared a variable x but we have not initialized it, so with the type of undefined again. Now, coming towards the next part, like uh, the thing that I would be explaining, like why undefined is appeared when we invoke that console.talk, or either we call this function, so we have undefined. So basically, coming toward this, so I would be writing a function. So again, a function is created by just typing a function variable, and again proceeding by a variable name like abc, then again by parenthesis. So in parenthesis we can give a bunch of arguments. So basically arguments is something like we insert that at the time of invocation. Invocation mean like we have applied this parenthesis. So basically we have invoked this x function that we have defined over here. So invoke means just calling this function by typing parenthesis. So again, we'll be explaining this in a while. So how it could be used when within the HTML document. So these are some basic concepts that we would be understanding before proceeding with the main experiment that we would be doing with the HTML document. So these are the basic concepts that we have to keep in mind before proceeding. So again, I would be declaring a function with the keyword function along with function name ABC. So this is basically used to invoke or call a function, and again followed by parenthesis. Then I would be defining the body of the function. So what it would be containing. So this is the first step. Like I would be consoling. I would be printing a simple hello world, and uh, I would be describing you the difference between when it will be give undefined and when it will not give undefined. So now uh, I will be declaring two function. So basically function xyz. So again it would be console.log, again world hello. Now this function will return something, like it will be will return a particular number, or it can return any string object or any data type that we want to return. So basically I would be returning a simple number, for example 1. So so basically the function that returns something are true functions. So basically we can use a function with other data types, so that a function would return something, and that returned value would be assigned to next variable. So basically that functions are called true function. So this is a true function, but it's not a true function as it is not returning something, it is giving undefined. So again, I have declared two functions. So I would be invoking these two functions alongside. So basically, I have invoked ABC, so that returned hello world, and I would be invoking XYZ, so that returned hello world hello that we have printed in the console. And again, we have one. We can see one over here. So this is what this XYZ function returned. So how we can use this returned value, and how we can check that out. So basically it's nothing but for example, I would be declaring a variable named z. So I would be assigning ABC, not a simple ABC. So basically we if I will be simply giving z is equal to ABC, so basically z will be converting into a function. So it would be referencing to like this. So I explicitly have to call Z like this in order to get all the stuff. But if I do variable Z is equal to ABC and then invoke this function. Now let's test it out. So when I console, if I print the value of Z, so what I will be getting is undefined. That means the value of Z will be undefined as the function have not returned anything. So it is returning undefined, like it is returning nothing. And again, the value of Z is not in Z is not initialized with a value. So if we check, the type of Z is undefined. But again, now if we declare again a variable Z along with ABC, oh, not ABC this time, so we would be declaring XYZ. So basically XYZ is returning 1. So again, by clicking on enter, so you can see world hello here as we have invoked this function. So basically this function run and we world hello is printed over the console, and again it has returned undefined as initializing a variable to some value does not return anything now. But if we console the value of Z, so what we would be getting is 1. Now if we check, the type of Z is a number. So basically what it does is, like when we invoke this function, so basically it has returned a particular value and that value has been assigned to Z when we have called this function. So basically it has print that word hello statement that we have written over it, and again this xyz function has returned a particular value 1, and that one has been assigned to Z. So basically now Z is a variable initialized to a value of 1. So now we can use Z at anywhere and we can console the log or some, we can do operations over it. So this is a basic functionality of how we can do. And again, we have a simple if else statement, like if Z is equal to 1. So these are simple statement, like if the first statement is true, then it will uh, run this function, else it will run the second function. So basically these are if else statement. If this equal to sign mean uh, whether to check value of Z is 1 or not. If it is 1, so we can print like yes, and else we can print no. So when I have again run this function, so basically I got yes as an answer as the value of Z is 1. But what if I declare it as like Z is, I don't want the value of Z to be 1. So basically I have a not operator. So when I click on exclamation mark, so that means not equal to. So the answer is no. Again, yeah. So these are the simple terminology that we can use. So basically now coming back towards the main HTML part. So we have done the basic stuff. So how we would be declaring all the function, and we have how we can use JavaScript within. Now we are ready with JavaScript to execute within the HTML document. So now coming towards the HTML part. So I would be again like opening that HTML document, and again, yeah. So now it must be visible. So the concept of how we can declare a JavaScript within the HTML document is like the 3 forms that I've explained. The initial one is by entering a script tag, like I can type a script, And again, I can write console.log hello world. There again, this is a simple statement. So again, this whole code has been automatically formatted when I hit save. So basically, it again done by the extension named as prettier. So you can download all the extension from this extension tab. So this extension tab is same as that of Play Store. So coming back toward the application, so I've saved this and I would be clearing the console. And again, when I hit refresh, so I can get this hello world written over here, and I would be getting which file this particular hello world text has been returned from, and it's at which line the function is being returned. So it is written on line 13. And again, when we click on this, so I can check out this in the source tab. I can check the whole HTML code that I have written, and at line 13, it is written like console.log hello world. So again, going back to the console tab, now what I will be doing is creating a simple button. So I would be having some kind of event listener and having on click listener attached to it. So basically that comes under the concept of DOM manipulation, how we can manipulate and we can uh, have some on our user can have interaction with the code that we have defined or with the information that is being visible on the screen. So I would be creating a simple button, uh, click me, again hitting refresh. So it's a click me button. So I would be declaring a simple style. So I would be giving a class and I would be initializing with a CSS file. So again, I would be giving button to it, giving the same class to it. And again, this is the main process, like linking that document, like dot mean the current folder, slash mean how what will be the next folder name or the file name. So this is the main.css file. And again, we have to give an extra attribute in order to specify what this file contains. So I would be giving a attribute as rel and giving it as style sheet. So all the content that is there in the main.css file, that is nothing but a style sheet. So this attribute is important beside this link href attribute. So I have already linked this main.css file to a button, and I would be increasing the font size to like 40 pixel. Again, then now it's a bit big, and now uh, like I would be giving a background to it. Like let's style it background color of like aqua, and I need no borders. Cool. So this is a simple button. So I can define the cursor pointer to change the cursor as I hover over it. So basically, when I refresh it, so as I hover over it, so my cursor changes. So when I click this button, so basically something should happen. So how I can define it as like either I can create a function by like click alert, and then it should alert me something, or it should print me on the console. So basically, hello world. So when I click on save and hit refresh, so when I click on this button, nothing happened as I have declared the function, but I have not attached this function to the button. So basically, we have a bunch of event listener attached to it. Either we can use the DOM, or we can use IDs, or we can inline define the JavaScript. So it has a button has an another attribute known as on click. So when I just type on, so I have an intelligence pop-up that display a number of event that I can proceed with. So basically, I am looking for on click. So basically, on click of the function, what should happen? So basically, I have to give reference to this function. So basically, declaring that and assigning this value. And again, at this point, I have just declared this function. So on click value again become this click alert, but I have to initialize this as by typing parentheses over it. So when I again go back to HTML document, so again by clicking on this, so we got hello world over the console. So again, at whenever time I click on this button, so hello world message appear on the console. So but basically I this console is not visible to a simple user. So what I do is just remove this console.log, and instead of this I just have an alert. So when I again refresh, so when I just click on this button, so I got an alert stating hello world. So this is a simple triggering of HTML document, how user can interact with the button and can see various type of stuff over the screen. So for now, let so basically I have defined an inline. I can also define inline JavaScript concept, like if I don't want to have this script tag, so this looks ugly. So I don't want to have the script tag, and again all the JavaScript code would be into it. That again make the our HTML document a bit bigger. So we try to reduce this as much as possible. So I will go with the inline JavaScript, right? So I would be writing. So again, uh, understood, like when I've started with the double inverted comma, so that again would should end with a double inverted comma in between. So if I am writing a string, so again that required a double inverted comma, but at this point of time, so when I write a double inverted comma, that means I have started over here and end over here. So again, that's a JavaScript error that will throw. So we have a bunch, instead of simply uh, uh, using double inverted comma, so we can use a single inverted comma beside this. So I would be writing hello, and again clicking on save and refreshing. So basically, I would be stating hello. And again, I don't want to include this in my HTML document. So basically, again, reverting this. So this function must contain the click alert, and I would be removing this code, and I would be pasting it a new file, like writing it as the file name include with like proceeding with an extension. So that's GS simple.gs extension. So I would be writing all the functions and declare variable over here. So clicking on save, and again this. So again we have created a new file, but when we go back to the document again refresh, nothing happened, as we have not linked this GS file to our main HTML document. So we have again have to link, but this time this link tag won't work, as we does not have a particular relevance attribute toward a script tag. We can just link some document manifest file, JSON file, or something to it, CSS file, but we cannot link code to the main HTML file. So for the code we again use script tag, and we would be defining a source to it. So where the source is present, so again I would be writing src, proceeding with a dot slash for the current folder, and that I would be entering the file name with extension. Clicking on save. So for now, I have successfully connected this HTML file with the external main.js file. So again, double check the name. So the name should be same as that of the function that we have declared. Again, hit refresh. Now we again have a hello world statement print over it whenever I click on it. So now I would be having this, it's a bit simpler. So I need my function to have, like, it should take some argument, like whatever value I want to give, so that would be there in the alert. So I would be typing it as, uh, it would be taking some argument, arg, and again the argument is a variable, so I can use this variable at any instance of point within this function. So this is basically the, it basically defined the scope of this variable. So the scope of this variable is nothing, is only within the particular function. Scope is nothing but uh, describing where we can use this variable. So starting from where the function start and where it end. In between these two parentheses, we can use this arg function. But beside this, so we cannot use this arg variable. So R can be anything like ABC, XYZ or something. You can write any name according to the use. So basically, this is a unique function, and basically, I can write any value to it. I can give any value to it, and it can display in the alert. So basically, hitting refresh. So by clicking on this, so basically this page see undefined. Undefined again, it means like we have uh, this variable is being declared, but it is not initialized. So it does not contain any value. So again, going back to it, so I would be writing 1. So it should return 1. So hitting refresh, click me. So it again return me 1. So basically, I have passed an argument to it. If I want to give an give any other statement, like again I would be using a simple inverted comma. Hi, how are you? Again saving, refresh the page, and again click me. Hi, how are you? Again the with whatever argument that I want to give, so that again uh, is being displayed over the alert pop-up. And now removing this, and now I so sometime what we do is in a real world application. So basically, I want to have some default value. If no value is being given, so I want to have a default value to it. So basically, what I describe is I go to R and I give a initial value to it. So basically, initial value defining it as my name is Raghav. So again saving it, and I have not passed any argument. So refresh page and again click me. So it display, hi, my name is Raghav. But this time, uh, if I want to change the argument value, so I can directly pass this, hi, my name is Shivai. So I can directly pass this statement as in the argument, but the initial value won't change. So now when I hit refresh, so it must display, hi, my name is Shivai. Yeah, perfect. So again, so what we have, we can have some takeaways from this particular instance. So basically, we can declare a particular function, and we can pass argument to it, and we can use this argument in this scope. If I want to print this argument, like beyond this particular function scope, so basically I would be writing args. So going back to the console, when I hit refresh, so basically it did define that the args is not defined at main.js line number 4. Going back to the main.js line number 4, so it is not defined. And again, if I just like put it at the top of the main.js file, so basically again at line number 1, arg is not defined. So basically what it do is, so but if I just shift it below this click alert function. So when I again hit refresh, so hi, my name is Shivai. Hi, my name is Shivai. So where it come from? So main.js again. So our argument is being used within this scope, And again, I have given a default value if I don't want to give any arguments to it. So again, yeah, we have declared a function and we have used it. Now, what if I don't want to use this on click listener? So this is the main concept. So I have defined this. I want my JavaScript to explicitly have all the stuff taken from HTML. How we can use basically DOM. So DOM is, as we have described, DOM stand for Document Object Model. So what it do is, so if so we have a particular keyword known as document. Document means this full HTML file. So basically we have a bunch of attributes over here. So we can create an element. Either we can explicitly define it should be a division, it should be a paragraph tag, it should be h1 tag. We can create any element. We can get any element from the HTML document. Like if I want to take this button button tag, and I can define their CSS. I can define the function that it should perform. It should be taking a value. It should be throwing a value. What function it would be performing. I can perform various operations over it. The next, it would be, there are many different attributes that I can use. So basically, I would be using this common uh, function. So basically, get element by ID. It is basically a part of document, and it is a function that take a parameter or an argument. So what it take is an ID. So the term that we have defined in module 2, like how we can define again CSS for classes and IDs. So we have the concept over there. So again, if I write, and I have described you how CSS can change the CSS properties of the same IDs, but again, when we go in the concept of JavaScript, so how only one tag is being selected when we are using ID. So here I will be showing that. So initially, I will be giving this particular instance of ID. So I am giving this button an ID of like it can be of any value, rather a string. So basically, I would be giving it as new ID or button ID. Yeah, it basically describe what the ID contains. So I would be giving this same ID to this. So basically the ID should match with the ID that we have given in this particular button. So I would be storing this in a variable. So name is button tag. So now what it should look like. So we would be having a print over the console. So it look like this button tag that we've used. So when I hover over it, so basically a blue box appear over it along with the dimensions having an button ID of ID of button ID and a class of button and with the text of click me. So now we have referenced, we have make a reference from JavaScript to the HTML document by using this document.getElement by ID function. So I have referenced this. So basically I can describe any function to it. So basically I can describe, like I want to add that on click listener now. So what I do is I have described this function, and again I would be adding button tag dot on click. So now I would be having, so on click is again you can compare to this as an attribute. So the on click that we have written over here, on click. So this is the same attribute that we are defining it here. So this is why it is known as document object model. So I have described you object as key value pair. So you can check this out as we have a document. So what is do is like we have a key and we have a value. So if I want to get this value, so what I do is I just simply pass console.log x dot key. So I have given a reference to key and I have console this. So when I go back to the console, so I would be having, I can see the value over here. So x dot key means this value. Now we can also declare some function. So I can declare alert click over here and I can define alert with hello world. Again, when I go back to alert click x dot alert click and again I click on save and I hit refresh. So again, I am getting a pop-up of hello world written over here. So basically, what I've does is, if I want to declare a function, so what I do is I would be simply typing attribute function to it and again giving parentheses as we have declared it earlier. So I would be writing this. So what we have done is we have created a variable or a key with the name alert click and we have given it a value of a function. So what we will do it now is now if we console this particular x dot alert click value, so it will return a function. So basically, rather I should be given a particular pop-up displayed over screen. So but now for getting a pop-up, so for this I have declared a variable with the value of function. So now I have to invoke this function. So basically I have to write a parenthesis over it and click on save to get the console printed over or the statement printed over the pop-up. Now, uh, again, you can compare this particular code along with like this is the variable name document that has a function name get element by id that again perform a particular function that we does not know. So have some function. So it basically do something. And again, we have a bunch of attributes over here. Like if I want to style, append, child, or have an inner HTML. So basically we have an inner HTML. We can add a style. So we have a bunch of object over here. So describing whole document as a form of a simple object. So that's nothing but a document object model. So that basically describe every thing about how we can visualize how DOM look like. So this is how I am uh, using all the functions. So basically I have a document. You can compare it to an object. So we have a bunch of functions over here. And again, that comprises of a hundred and thousand of functions, variable, data types, and many more. So basically that comprises of a whole document. So again, coming back to our uh, button click. So again, the whole DOM is a huge concept to understand how we can manage all the functions and variables. And it's really a wide concept. Yeah, so coming back to the button tag, we will be having a non-click function. So I would be giving a value of click alert. And again, I would be just passing a reference. Now this time I would not won't be calling this function. So that would be again on click if I want to execute this function. So basically that does by again by clicking on this function. So just again by refreshing the page and clicking on this particular icon. So again, I got an object pointer event. So that have a bunch of value. Again, we have this click alert. So now uh, we have defined, we have given an alert, and we have described every step that we can take. So if I again call this invoke the function, so basically at the time of invocation, at the time of HTML load, so basically the alert page or the alert pop-up appears. So at the time of click, it won't work. So when I give parentheses to it, so basically we just have to pass a reference to click alert function. And again, now we have passed the click function, but there is an another way. As per this scenario, we cannot pass a particular argument to it. So basically, the thing that you are, if I again hit refresh, or not refresh, I save this and hit refresh and click on this. So basically, you can see this object pointer function. So what it denotes is this object is coming from this onClick function. So onClick function has a bunch of arguments to it, and this argument is being passed to this arg variable. So this R variable is nothing but getting a value of the pointer event object, the total pointer event object, and that is being displayed over the alert as well as we can see over the console. So what we can do with these uh, on-click arguments. So again, as I've stated, like it's a huge, the DOM itself is a huge object. So we again get an object when I pass an argument. So again, I don't want to have this. So basically just want to have a simple alert of hello world. Again, click on refresh and just click on the button. So again, this page gives a hello world pop-up over it. Yeah. So till now we have added event listener. We have just seen how we can describe different define different type of JavaScript and how we can define it within the documents. Now like coming towards how we can basically manipulate DOM items. Now for example, we I have a particular division. I have to change text in it. So basically initially it is written hi, can you change me by clicking over this button. Now when I hit refresh, so a division would appear by stating like, hi, can you change me by clicking on this button? So it's a kind of challenge to me. Like it is, this document is challenging me to click on this button and to change the text or within this document. So by clicking on this button, so I am initially having an alert, but now I have a challenge, like I have to create a function that changes the text. So basically what I do is like I again will be giving a ID to it that represent the div ID. So again that can be any name, but whatever name that you want to give to the ID, and again referencing this again ID to div tag document dot get element by ID. Again I have referenced this to the div tag. So what on the button dot on click should do is, so it should have a function. So neglect this. It should have a function. So that should like change text of that div tag. So basically, I would be referencing to the div tag, and I would be having a attribute as inner HTML. So it has a key of inner HTML. So I can so it's not a function. It's basically a value. So what I can do is just by stating div tag dot inner HTML, I can directly assign a value to it. So I can assign like lol. I have changed your value. So now when I again hit refresh, so by just clicking on this button, so the main div that has an initial text of hi, you can change the value of me by clicking on this button. So now we have finally changed the the text that is being displayed over the screen within the division. And if we go to the element tab, and again you can see the text has been again changed from the element tab. But again, that does not affect our code. So that's why when we again hit refresh, so the initial text would be appeared over the screen. So now what we have done till now is we have added an event listener, we have taken an inner HTML, we have created some uh, fun changes, fun activities, and then now again uh, we have a bunch of again by describing input text. So basically, I would be describing an input with the type of simple text. So what I will be doing is, so I would be removing this, or I would be commenting this div icon, and again I would be commenting this. So basically what I want to do is transfer a particular text from an input to another input. So again, I would be writing a placeholder or of transfer text from here. And the second placeholder will tell transfer text to here from, and then from this particular input to the second input. So I would be giving an ID of input one. So it a bit uh, trickier that we have done with in the initial JS initial script that we have written. So I would be typing it the value of input 2. So again, I would be declaring new variables like input 1 is equal to document dot get element by ID. So basically, I have just created a reference to that particular input element. And again, I would be creating a second reference to the second input at which I want to transfer my text. So now what I will do is like I would be getting this particular value that is being written in the first input field. I would be copying that value, storing it in a variable, and then that variable would be giving the value to the second input. So how I can do this as I would be declaring a simple variable. So I would be again representing you how what this const mean. So basically, this is a new terminology. So I would be covering in the ES6 session. So in a while. So basically, I would be creating again a variable. So I would be having this input reference input one dot. Uh, sorry. So I would be getting a variable. So initial text. So I cannot declare a variable name with spaces or like starting with the number. So it should be a text or I can start with the underscore if you want. So basically initial text. So initial text will contain the value of first input. So I would be defining that input one dot. Now in this it is not inner HTML. Inner HTML mean the element or the text that is enclosed between that uh, particular instance that we have selected from this document.getElementById function. So in this, if I want to get all the value from this particular input, so the keyword is value, input dot value, simple value. So basically, if I want to console this, so basically I would be consoling this as initial text. So I have these two text fields. So I was writing hello. Again, going back to console when I click on click me. So this is the same text that I'm writing over here. So again, now our first step is completed. Like we have copied the value from input field one to the second input field. So now what I want to do is want to copy this particular text that we have copied from the input one, and I want to assign the value to the input two. But what I do is again simply just writing by input dot value, and I would be assigning this as initial text. Again, I would be writing any random alphabet and just by clicking over it. So the text has been pasted over the second. input. But now what I want to do is I want to remove the first input box, all the text that is available in the input box after transfer. I want to transfer the text, not it should be there. It should not be there within two fields. So again, I would be uh, before that I would be creating a simple BR tag to separate these two, and this should be clearly visible. So again, I would be what I do is like after transferring all the data. So what I do is I would be giving the value of simple empty text. So by uh, typing random text or alphabets, so just by clicking over it, so the first input has been emptied and all the text has been transferred to the second input. So this is a simple we have tried a copy and paste of from one text field to another. So till now we have successfully manipulated the DOM, how we can try the data from one type to another and how we can use that. So again, we have, as I have stated in my initial session presentation. So I would be explaining you about ECMAScript. So basically, ES stand for ECMAScript, or it's the another name of JavaScript. Basically, it is a bit formal name. How we can represent a JavaScript in the formal language. So basically, it have a particular bunch of versions. So basically, that version define change in particular syntax, how we approach to a solution, or how we define uh, a bunch of parameters. So in 2015, so we have a major change in JavaScript syntax, and we have an introduction to some cool uh, implementations as well as variables. So basically, defining that the term that or the keyword that I have written over here. So basically, what uh, in 2015, what it has given us as the new latest version of JavaScript known as ES version 6. So basically defined as ES6. So we have a bunch of changes, syntactical changes over there. So we have the introduction of let, const, uh, variable names. So basically, initially we describe all the variable as var, known as variable, and we declare a value. But now we have we can definitely as we do in math. So teacher told us to let you have 20 apples. So basically we are letting our brain to know, like we are basically thinking about how many we have taken a particular instance in our mind, and we do some particular operations over it. So again we are letting something over here as term suggested. So again we are declaring a variable by let x is equal to 1, or if we describe it as let x. So this is simply declaration. Again, this is same as we are declaring this. But what is the main difference? So basically, when we are doing or uh, working over a huge project that contains countless number of modules or functions. So basically, we have to use some concept and to have keep in mind in order to design and like check out each and every variable name and the declarations. So basically, what let do is like going back to the console. So I this would be better explainable over here. So I would be declaring a variable x with a value of 1. Definitely we can change the we can typecast the value of x to any number or data type. So basically again the x means string x, again hello, then x means hello. So we have already changed the data type. So x means object, and again But what let do is, for example, if I declare a variable x, if I declare a variable with y or z equal to 1, I can redeclare it by value 2. I can redeclare it by value 3, or at any instance of point I can redeclare the same variable. But now if I want to redeclare the value of x to any instance, and again I declare the value of let x is equal to some string. So basically, just a second. Yeah, so coming back toward this, so basically it does not let us to redeclare all the value eh, if we are using a particular syntax known as use strict. So basically when we type this particular string over our first instance, so basically what it does is it has strictly abandoned like JavaScript to use loosely typed variables. Loosely typed variables mean the declaration means simple. We are using var equal to like it described like x has already been declared. So we cannot use a particular like the we cannot redeclare the variable x again and again if we have defined it by let keyword. For example, we if we are using var, so I've written var y is equal to 1. I can redefine all the value of y to any instance or any point. But if I declare this by let, so value 3. So again, y has already been declared. So let take into consideration like whether it has been the value has been allocated in within the memory or not. So basically it try to create it try to make an history. It check from history whether we have created a variable of a particular name or not. If we have created, so basically it will throw an error representing like it has already been declared. So and again if by mistake we have redeclared the value to any other point, so it must be it must break some function or any instance of code if we are like contributing to a huge project. So that's why we are using a let keyword. Like it does not let user to redeclare the value. And again for const again as the term suggests, so const mean a simple constant. So if we have declared a value like a equal to 1, so we cannot redeclare the value of a as well as we cannot change the value of a. Now if I want to also typecast is not possible, so it will throw an error, type error, assignment to a constant variable. We cannot change a particular constant to a file. So basically that's why I have written const over here. So again, this is a simple variable defining button text should not be changed if I have assigned the particular value to button tag. So button tag should remain constant, and again after each iteration it should not be changed. So again, the second concept that comes in uh, mind is like uh, arrow functions. So yeah, basically this is also a new concept. So how we can declare a simple function. So basically we declare a simple function by typing function keyword along with the function name, and then the parentheses that have a bunch of arguments over it, and then declaring it within the parentheses. So this is the old concept. So how we can write. So syntactically it is correct, and it is a bit big to represent when we are creating huge applications. So that have a common term that we can use is by arrow functions. So arrow functions is nothing but uh, this type of functions. So basically add without defining the particular function, so we can declare a function by this only. So like again defining a constant, giving a variable name as abc, then equal to ABC is a variable. So as we are so basically we have rebundled all the value, and we have smoothen the flow that we are working in. So how we declare a variable. So uh, at that point only, as same as that, as we have declared variable. So again the functions are same as e- easy, and same as that we are declaring a simple variable. So just by typing this parenthesis along with an arrow. So this arrow is main, and along with this curly braces. So we have again declared a function. So again, if I go back to the console and type const abc is equal to this type of function. So if I check the type of abc, so it will return me a function. So this is the concept of how we declare a particular instance in JavaScript. And again, we have a bunch of other changes too with in the ES6. And again, we have a concept of spread operators. Uh, then we have classes. So basically, this is the main term. So JavaScript is basically a functional language as well as a object oriented language. Oops, object oriented language. So what it mean is JavaScript we can create functions, and we as we have an further concept of objects defined within JavaScript. So basically JavaScript is made to like smoothen the flow of how we design the application, and again using objects in much simpler forms, but again that have some consequences as well as demerits. So that's why we add ES6. So basically there are another concept of classes and constructor along with some variable name changes. And again for now, so we can create object oriented or we can create new object instances by using like simple functions also along with some classes, and we can directly engage them uh, from each other. So this is the basic concept of how we declare JavaScript and how we use JavaScript concept within a particular HTML document.
So the first question that we have, Raghav, is can you please let us know the difference between let and var?
So again, going back to the main Chrome document. So basically what we do is just over to the console. So basically how var and let are different from each other. So basically when we are declaring a variable by a variable var keyword, so what we do is we just type var keyword to it, and again proceeding with the space. So we assign a particular variable name like not ABC, like we can assign uh, any value like high. So I have created a variable high and I have assigned it a value of to 1, and then I can redeclare it high to any other value like 2, and again declaring high to 3. So basically I have declared each and every instance, and I have changed the value as well as I have redeclared the value. But now in ES6 concept, so basically we I don't want to have this kind of statements. Like I don't want to redeclare the same variable, as it may cause some disruption while using. If I have used a particular variable at a single component, like I want to represent it to a button, so it should not be changed to a particular input field or division field. So to prevent that, so what I do is just type use strict to it. So use strict is a concept of ES6. So that basically determine like the strict environment should be enabled, and the if we are using the latest keyword like let and const, so that should not be the value should not be changed as well as redeclared. So if I declare a variable hey, assign it to value of 1. So I have declared a variable and initialize the value to 1. And again, if I uh, try uh, try to redeclare the value of hey to 2, so basically maybe use strict is not okay. So use strict was not enabled. X is equal to. So basically we can see this. So when we are using use strict, when we have declared a variable x is equal to 1, and we so basically when I refresh, nothing happened. But when I try to redeclare this variable, so it represent x has already been declared. So basically, but what I can do with let keyword is I can change the value without redeclaring the variable. Like declaring mean assigning a particular memory space to a variable. But I don't want to allocate a new memory space, so that's why I just want to change the value. So the value can be anything. So that's why JavaScript is a bit dynamical language to use. So you can change the value of 2. Like if I hit refresh, so nothing happens. So if I just console.log, so the value of x, so again that's mean 2. But if I again redeclare the value 2, so it will throw an error. And again, as I've stated, like JavaScript is a scripting language, so it read line by line. At any instance, if any error occurred, so the next or the execution stopped. So the rest of the code will not be executed if any code will code error would be there. So again, if I just console.log above the redeclaration of the value, so it will still it will not still it will not be like consoling any of the value as we have already stated. Like so basically, why it has not given this print statement due to a concept called as hoisting. So hosting basically means transferring all the variable that we have declared over here. So basically till above the whole documentation, the code that we have written. So what it does is like we have assigned a value x to it, and again we what this line means we have redeclared the value of x. So that's why at this point of time execution stopped. But you can take an example of this, like let x is equal to 1, and now if I've written like this, so removing this element, so the value 1 has been printed. And again, if I have changed the value, and again the value 2 is printed. We have already changed the value of x again, but we cannot redeclare it in the let keyword by using let keyword. Again, if we have declared a variable by using let keyword, we also cannot use var along with it. And again, const mean a simple constant. We cannot redeclare a variable along with we cannot change a value. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Okay. So Dash is asking. So we can declare the variable again using var when using use strict.
When we are using use strict, but like if a variable has been declared, so again it will throw an error. We cannot redeclare a variable if we have declared a variable using let keyword. So it has a special memory space allocated to it along with same variable name. But if let has been defined, so the same variable name cannot be used. Along with uh, vice versa, like if we have declared var, and we can unlimited time we can redeclare the whole variable with the same name. But if we have already declared a variable name x to it, we cannot use let along with it.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'll just recommend to everyone that be mindful of the global nature of the var, and how, like with const or let, it's more specific for a block. So like if you're using it in a particular program, in a particular function, so keep that in mind when you're declaring any variables.
Yeah, and also I want to give you some terminology insights. So basically, the first one is hosting. So you can basically read of your own. So what is hosting, how it is being used within JavaScript. So basically, how it is being internally used in JavaScript. So what is closures and lexical scope. So these terminology would definitely help you to basically understand how JavaScript works, and
Yeah.
along with the basic concept that we have already given.
Yeah, and also something like event bubbling, because these type of questions can also be
Yeah,
actually asked in Facebook type of companies as well. So these are, you might think that they are like basic points, but they can actually be asked because they really sort of look at the fundamental basics of how JavaScript actually works.
yeah, definitely. Awesome. So any other question?
Okay. So Sai Teja is asking, how will it behave while iterating loops? I think it might be with respect.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we are not covered the concept of iterations. Like we have a simple common loops like for, do while, and while loop. Again, the same concept. The concept is same as that of uh, like other languages, Java, C, C++, and all. So basically, how it is being used within loops. So initially, we are declaring a variable with initial value, and we give a condition. So and along with what how iteration would look like. So we do some operations over here. And again, so now what happen over here is, so how for loop work is, so it input from here. So a variable is being declared and again initialized with a value of 0. And again, the second statement where it will go with is the condition. So if we met the condition, so the operation would follow. And now the second, again the condition would be match, like it would be increment the value of I with by 1. So plus plus mean a simple post incrementer. We can also write it as plus plus one. That means pre-incrementer. So these are the basic other concept of general programming language. And again, it would be going to check this condition. And again, the operations are performed till the condition get false. But now, if we are using the let keyword, so basically we have declared the variable, and the let keyword basically give us the freedom to change the value of I, but we cannot redeclare. At this instance of point, so basically we have only declared the value of I only single uh, at a single instance. We are not redeclaring the value of I at every uh, at every loop. So basically the condition goes like declaring and initializing the value of I, then hitting the condition, then again operation, then again this increment operator, then condition. It will never reach to the prior declaration that we have given over here. So it will only execute once. So that's how these keywords act within these loops.